This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your live market chat for Friday, December 2nd, 2022. Where the hell did the year go? Hopefully you're doing well. Can I get a mic check? And if you are watching this video, go to approximately the mid 6 minutes mark if you want to get into the details. I'm just going to let people come in. Usually there are some actually good questions between now and then. But yeah, let's see what's going on, get people in, and then we'll go from there. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Mic check, 1, 2. What is this? The 5-footer with the roughneck business. Float like gravity. Never had a cavity. Got more rhymes than one is his family. Hopefully you had a decent week. Interesting action today. Natural gas, cotton, oil, wheat. Mic is on. Awesome. People who are listening, the Discord room link is wide open. Take advantage of it while you can because it will not be on for long. I told people I wanted to open it up because I know I get a lot of people asking, but we also want to get some fresh blood about sentiment. There's always somebody who comes into the room trying to teach versus learn, who has bad habits, who is just not probably where they want to be. And they're great counter indicators. Now, again, a lot of people say, oh, how do you, don't you use stock twits and Twitter and sentiment and all that stuff? Yeah, I do. But sometimes it's good to have people in there. And then every once in a while, we find some good folks. If you are joining the Discord room, the warning is get involved. Because there's a sweep. Every couple weeks, we all go through and go, all right, who's involved, who's not? And if you're not involved in the room and you're just reading and copying and pasting our stuff and using it for your own, or you're just, I don't even know what you're doing, not involved, you're going to get swept out. The goal of the room is to create a room full of traders. Again, it's not an echo chamber or drink the Kool-Aid kind of room. We can all have different opinions, share charts, share ideas, share thoughts, processes, but it's all about learning and helping each other out. People say sometimes it's not friendly. Sometimes people say, I'm not friendly. No, I just don't have patience sometimes for people who kind of lie to themselves, which, it's one of those things. It's like when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Like when somebody offers to help me, I don't sit around and question them consistently trying to figure out, if I trust them or not. You either believe or you don't. You want help, you don't, or you don't. Think about from that perspective how this works. Again, like we don't all have to do the same trades. I always laugh at that. People are like, oh, you're just trying to get people to do what you're doing. I'm like, no. I'm just trying to warn people from the pitfalls. I don't want you to have the multi-million-dollar tuition bill that I have. Yeah. Always, too. Yeah, check out. I mean, that's the thing. Even if you're not the Discord room, I'm talking about there's always tons and tons of videos for education. Here it is. There's 53 of them. I should probably do more of them. But here it is. Everything. Learning. Student is ready to teach your peers. But people have to be willing to work hard for it. I'm just amazed at this. You're trying to beat an industry that has millions, billions of dollars of assets at their disposal to get an edge in the market. And you think you're going to sit down at the computer, get excited, press a few buttons, and just murder the market. Ain't happening, playa. Nah, you, me, everybody here, we are the target. We have to be smarter. We have to think like the market maker. That's the goal. That is the goal. And the thing is, people always you really love Livermore and his processes and operators. And it's like, yeah, I do. People are like, but Livermore went broke when he died. I'm like, well, yeah, his wife shot his son, and then he ended up dying, and a lot of drama. Which, again, if you've ever been into trading and this full time, you realize your emotional state is more important than sometimes what even the market's doing. You couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat in trading. I've lost 20 times in a row plus, going wow. What are the odds of that? and it had to be with being in the wrong emotional state. But point being is the thing that I'm trying to teach people is you make all this money, buy some real estate. Work for EXP. You got a network of 90,000 agents anywhere in the country, USA, world. 10 properties, 10 years. If you can do that, I guarantee you can trade part-time, mess around, manage your properties or property management, own them. That's the difference I think Livermore didn't do, is he didn't build an empire with the cash he was making. All these people argue with me, hey, I want to have a bigger account. No, I want all the assets. Trading is like printing money from a tree and investing it versus putting it in a pile and letting it decay. or maybe it catches on fire or something happens. I don't know. I mean, that's the hardest thing with trading. Like today, the SPY, most days than not on a jobs doji. Well, the jobs data was good and gapped down. 401, what was the low on the SPY? Yeah, 402. Made no sense. Sometimes that happens. And so you have to be on the lookout for like mistakes because they're always bound to come at some point. Again, we bat for a 8, 9 out of 10 right, but those 1, 2, 3 out of 10 times being wrong, that shit happens. Excuse my French. It happens. If you think you're going to be somehow immune, you're going to be this perfect trader who just never loses, you don't even realize, like, talk to some of the best, well, I don't even know, the best traders in the world. Their goal is to hit a percentage. You know, it's like Ted Williams. You know, they always love talking about, like, you know, how to hit 400. Well, you got to be more selective on your pitches, but you still can strike out. So, anyway, we'll see. So, give me 2 seconds. I want to read something. It's up because okay. Sorry, I got a tenant who's like looking to take on one of my rentals, and it's like, oh, please do it. Their insurance company was going to pay like double market rate. Pretty excited about that, but I don't know if it's going to follow through. Yeah, anyway, here we go. Next couple 10 seconds. Please, if you got questions, save them for when they're pertinent. I'm going to record the live, the weekend recap, but the best part of this stuff is always the end where we open mic it. And again, if you have a question relating to one of the stocks that we're talking about, please ask it. I have no problems with that at all. The link to the Discord room, it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. I posted it. It's a good question. Bullish 23. It's somewhere in here. Just go into my Twitter page. Here it is. Here, I'll give me 2 seconds. Here you go. I'll drop it into the chat. Please enjoy. Follow the rules. That's all I ask people. Don't be jerk-offs. All right. Let me start recording. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, a.k.a. the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market recap for, December 2nd, 2022. Hopefully you had a good week. Pretty interesting, up and down, all over the place near the end. But as we've always said, the Feds are in the sweet spot. We anticipate the market to continue to rise. Maybe tax loss selling's over. People worried about the VIX. People worried about a million things. I said it and I say it again. The Feds are in the sweet spot. Unless commodities go ripping higher, they don't have to raise rates as quickly. They can just kind of sit here, do nothing, pretend to pause, slow their rate hike potential. Everything's good for them in that sense. Jobs, stable-ish. These job numbers are a little sneaky. A lot of people adding multiple jobs. I don't know if that's necessarily good. People dropping out of the workforce, not necessarily good. But overall, near term, and I'm not talking about like the long term, because I think most people know, like long term, very bearish. I don't think we end without a VIX spike into the 40s or 50s. What up, Eric? Yeah, without a spike into the 40s or 50s, this is probably going to play out more like the 70s/2000/2008 all combined, which will bring a mishmash of what volatility. The markets won't make new highs. They'll make new lows. The final leg down will be the blowout. But then after that, you might have what we consider, me personally, knowing how the market's like a bottoming out time correction where the market might not move very much for a long period of time. Could that be a year? Could be 18 months. We don't know. But again, as the traders that we are, and people complain about this sometimes, like, we're always trying to evolve. We're trying to pivot. Like, if you're wrong, admitting it, moving on to the next thing. We're always trying to, go through the evidence as is to evolve to the next trade potential. Because again, if you marry your theses and you think you're always going to be right, I can guarantee your outcome in trading is going to be one outcome: blow up. You will absolutely blow the hell up at some point. Because that's the thing. You're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. We're all going to be wrong here. No one's perfect. So, I appreciate everybody. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button. Notification bell. You would get the notifications that we are running a live chat. Again, watch the videos. If you have questions, you're newer, and you're like, I'm not sure, like, what about what's going on in the markets? I'm telling you, I've got a video for basically everything. And if I don't, tell me. I'll make a video on it. I've been doing this for way too long. I'm very familiar with the odds and the probabilities and things. I can give you the best insights that I have. And now people say, like, oh, well, what does that mean? Okay, well, do you understand how the first and last 3 trading days of the month, how that affects the market? Do you understand typically how Doji patterns work. Jobs days, typically dojis, not always. Again, reviewing the past. People love to like stare at their computers and watch the now. I'm telling you, it's a waste of time. The past is where all the value is, right? Because it's all repeating patterns. There's nothing new in the market. The participants are the same idiots as they were 100 years ago. It's just the markets change, right? The dynamics change. Momentum, idiocy, fear, FOMO, all that stuff. It's all repeating patterns. It all plays out in the markets. Also, too, if you wanted to get the link to the Discord room, it is available for 1 week. 1 week. And then after that, shut off. If you join the Discord room, you please get involved. Because if you're not involved, you're going to get booted out. I can just tell you that now. We're not like, a lot of people come in there and they spam it, or they come in, they copy and paste this stuff and share it. And it's like never giving credit to the people who are actually creating the content, or they just hang out and think that me and some of my friends are Jim Cramer. We're going to tell you how to trade all the time. No. I would say it's like a monarchy with the family. Like you get into the family, because the goal is to the family being what? 30 people. I mean, it's not a Discord room of 1,000. No, it's going to be 30, 40, 50 people. The 5% that survive, helping each other out. Video suggestion topic: paper trade sizing. Okay, maybe at some point. Paper trade sizing. I mean, I would trade. And this is the thing, if anyone who's familiar with what I say when practicing, you treat $1 like you treat $1,000. You treat one share like you treat 1,000 shares. You're going to do fine. Because if you can make money with small amounts, then the decimal points just move. But if you have the same respect for money without gambling, you will do well. So if you want a paper trade, correct sizing, well, again, it depends on your accounts. Like we talked about, options account should be 10% of your stock account. Because at any point, you can blow out your options account. Happens a lot. If you're wrong, especially when you're near dated. Going big. But that's why we always talk about extracting money out of it. That's a good topic. Maybe I'll try to do it live, my man. Just try to do it live so I can get the questions. Because I have, again, if you're in the Discord room, there's tons of side reference resources. Where's the options room? I've got the rules. There's 18 of them. Where are they? Somewhere in here. There you go. 18 rules for my option trading. So keep an eye on that. Let's get into the stocks. Let's get into the market. This is the Bitcoin. Man, why is this happening now? Every time you start TradeView, it just like goes right to whatever it was at. I've said this. I'm going to say it again. People don't like to hear this. Dead money. Dead money. Time correction and a price correction. Now, if you decide you have to trade Bitcoin and you have a good feel for the market and you like to watch paint dry, maybe, know the levels. We've talked about the levels of importance. I mean, you're right at one right now. Does it hold? If it holds, good. Could it bounce? I mean, you could argue that this formation down here is like a head and shoulders bottom. Here's your left shoulder with heavy volume, a retest with lighter volume, and then volume building up. Doesn't look bearish. But again, I don't trust it. It's kind of like, I cut my teeth trading in gold. And gold, let's just say, is one of the hardest assets to trade by far. And so sometimes you see these formations, you go, okay, I trust it, but I also have my stop. I also have a thought process that it might not be seasonally correct. It might not be moving fast. There might be 1,000 other variables that lead you to go, well, the more I'm up, the less I own. Trade around a position, know the levels, and know them well. Do I want to dig deep into the levels on Bitcoin? Get over 20,000 and see what happens. Maybe that's the best way to think about it. WTI crude. All right. OPEC, here we come. Virtual meeting. Probably going to do what? Doesn't matter. How many times in the last 2 weeks since oil hit our projected upside of the channel as it's pulled back, what rumor have you not heard about OPEC? They're cutting. They're increasing. They're doing nothing. It's all priced in. I don't give a crap. It is all priced in my opinion. This 76 area, man, if I go back, even to 2005, I'm not going to do it. This area matters. That's my favorite new t-shirt. That area matters. Like someone's like, oh, you should make that. No, whatever. This zone matters, whatever you want to call it. Think about it. Here you go. Hits the resistance, backs off today. Trade, you got to trade around this stuff. The volatility with the headlines and the bull crap, not bull or bear crap, but just, BS. It's just everywhere. It's just absolutely everywhere. So if you have Any thoughts about like what's going to happen next with oil? 2 million barrels, 200 million barrels of SPR refilled, I think, about approximately. I mean, there's no, the supply in itself drained here in America. Russia's not going to be pumping it out. The BRICS hate, let's call it what it is, hate us as in the U.S. It doesn't really seem likely that the price action is going to break below here unless the market absolutely implodes and the market tanks. Which, again, if we're in the sweet spot, I've said this theme and I say it over and over. The Feds are cruising. They're loving life. Well, the only way that things start changing and so that the Feds have to actually start thinking about increasing rates again is what? Commodities start taking off. And they start moving. At least mid-90s, probably low 100s. And guess what? If Russia is just sitting here quiet because they're like, yeah, try to cap our oil. See that. See how much you'll get. Nothing. That's going to put some weird circumstances in the oil market. Now, again, does anyone know anything certainty? No. But we know the levels. We absolutely know the levels. Got to know them. Nat gas. I bought some yesterday, and I feel like an idiot. Didn't add any today at all. Not at all. I mean, again, wheat, cotton. Wheat, cotton. Wheat, cotton. Oil feels like wheat, cotton. That killed Livermore. Maybe that's nat gas. We'll find out. We're at levels where I'm like, we better hold. We better hold. I don't want to see UNG get smoked down, and I don't need to see this thing in the low sixes. Higher oil prices should hold up natural gas prices. It's cold, it's hot, whatever. I mean, the free port, LNG port, the building of inventory, you have to remember in your mind, prices manipulated low for too long does not do good for price action later. Because now all of a sudden people are going to take inventory off at these low prices. And there's going to be nothing, like, it just floods out, right? Near term. And hence why it's probably pricing in. But future oil and gas reserves, I mean, you're not going to, again, people are going to try to sweep up as much as they can at these current prices. That's going to come off the market at those low prices. And the only way to what? To get more is going to be what? All right, well, if you have a limited supply, you're going to have to see the price rise to get more inventory for people to sell, right? I personally believe we talked about the broadening pattern on that gas. I think the bottom's in. It's just, it looks like a nice rolling uptrend. Now, a lot of people say December can be pretty crappy. I get that. But trying to compare this year to any other year, it's just, again, we don't have the factors in play that we have had in my lifetime of trading when it comes to oil and gas. I mean, I did not live during the 1970s oil embargoes, but I do know what happened. We had stagflation, and we had oil and gas go pretty much nutty everywhere. Up, down, resolving higher, right? For a period of time, putting the market in the dumper. At this point, trade your position. I'm just telling you, be safe, be thoughtful, don't marry it. Because this thing could rip your heart out. Could absolutely rip your heart out. Man, had to hold 19. It did today. All right, the dollar. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Nobody here was calling for the dollar to get smoked down to the 200-day and the 0.382. Nobody. Again, I'll pat myself on the back. But it's great. I didn't do anything for me at this point. I didn't short the dollar, but it said that would help the market go higher. Talked about this doji here. Again, people are like, oh, you say this. I'm like, go watch the videos. I don't delete tweets. I don't delete anything. Because I want people to realize, like, I can be wrong. And when I'm right, I'm right. It's just, I'm right as well. The odds are more likely that I will be because I've used my experience. I don't overtrade. Here you go. We failed the trend line. We said this was an interesting formation because it's like, is this a novice gap doji? Channel high? Sometimes we talk about, you have to test levels, trend lines, certain things over and over to create a pattern of certainty in the market, which is broken by the market. Look at that. All these people bought the dollar, got trapped. Now you're down near the lows. This one's hard near term because, again, could it play out in the 28 range for a while? Most times than not, the bottoms are, they're not like one-day events. And even if it is, like say down here in last December, January, you got to retest later, right? So if the dollar spikes, maybe you get the pullback in the market. But this is where I keep thinking in my mind, what's going to cause the dollar to spike? It better be something probably relating to what? Commodities. The BRICS saying something, doing something. Wow, the TLT, man. We hit the next price zones. Now, again, a lot of people say, all right, the curve inverting, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, yep, okay, I got it. I mean, just remember, the market's rigged. Don't pretend it's not for a minute. Like, oh, I get mad about it. People get all mad. Oh, the market's rigged. It's like, yeah, no shit. Duh. It's always been rigged. It's meant to take your money, my money. Here we go into the next resistance points. Market's going to like this near term. Now, again, we talk about the bond velocity. If bonds get bought aggressively, does the market rise aggressively? I don't know. Bonds and market have followed pretty much each other all year long. Near term, resistance, support resistance area, fibs. Here's the thing, though. Like I said, what could possibly change this? Some volatility in the commodities market. Because if the market keeps like this belief that like, oh, hey, prices are going to come down, everything's great, then yeah, people will buy bonds because they anticipate deflation potentially, and also what? Weakness in the markets. We talked about this being the professional gap. Like, don't be surprised if it chopped up, because you hear, we always said, and here's like I'm talking about for the dollar. The first bottom isn't probably the best bottom to buy. It was this retest, and then you went. See, talk about retest. How hard it is. Like, oh, I have to pick the bottom. I'm like, no. People are like, how are you going to pick the top in the market? I'm like, don't care. Nope, because there'll be some sort of lower high potentially, or it'll become more obvious. The VIX. Again, pat myself on the back. I said when the VIX could not break out and the market broke down in October, I was like, red alert. Like, do not be surprised if it filled this gap. Nobody believed us. And again, I don't care. Repeating patterns. Well, here, what happened last December? Oh, look at that. Dropped down. Bottomed in January, early January. I've said this, I'm on record. Sweet spot. I mean, is it possible the VIX just gets stuck? Could it hit, what's up, Cap? 17, 18 range? What do we need for the bottom or the top in the market? We need the new bull market mantra to be repeated by everybody. I need people like in our Discord room yelling at me like, you missed the bottom of the bull market. It's just starting, you idiot, blah, blah. Like those people, because they're the same ones who were wrong previously. Like, we need that mentality, not that mentality, we need that like mindset from the masses, because we need what? The market makers, if you're not familiar, again, if you're in the Discord room, go check out the VP analysis, Anna Coulling's 8 rules. You need the mass media to convince everybody it's time to buy at the high so they can liquidate. Remember, the market is it's a liquidity-driven game, right? To move inventory, sell it to idiots at highs, buy it at lows from idiots. Like, that's the goal. When I say idiots, that can be you, me, everybody. So could the VIX just kind of hang out until everybody all agrees? I guess the bull market is starting. That's what you're waiting for. SPY. I mean, even like today's action. Most days are not for jobs days or dojis. But as I talked about this morning, like if we gap down, is this a trap to just come right back up? I mean, we're at what I would consider the upside target zones. But here, think about this again. Take freaking pen and paper out. Remember this. When something seems obvious, that's when the market makers are very good at breaking the tendency. Here you go. Here was the bottom here. You had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tap, slightly lower low. Then we went higher. All right, top, top, top. What are the odds that we make a higher high and get out of the channel? Minimum. And again, I put this upside target zone when we were down here in the 20-day holding up. What are the odds that we break over this channel? Right? Don't act surprised when it does. Okay? And if, say, it does fail, say we're wrong, there will be a bounce to some sort of lower high or a retest. And you will give yourself ample opportunity to short. Okay? Clear. Clear as day. Makes sense? Remember, the first touch, being early to the party, doesn't guarantee anything. Now, sometimes you get the bigger returns if you're right early, because maybe that's the best opportunity. But as you study this stuff, you realize the repeating patterns of tops, bottoms. We need an extreme. We need sentiment. Justin Pulitzer, you should follow him on Twitter. He's the only person on Twitter I actually respect decently with a decent amount of like experience that's also teaching. A lot of good people I follow, and some of them I follow just for sentiment. But he does his poll. It's literally showing bearishness is back up. It's almost 2-1 bearishness. Everyone expects the market to pull back next week. What's up with the microphone? Is anyone having any issues with the microphone? Take a sip of coffee. Is it your apparatus or is it my phone? Anyone else? One person is saying it. Good on my end? Okay, that's what I thought. That happens sometimes. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Everyone says it's okay. It must be your... Maybe restart and come back in. I don't know. It's the internet. The interwebs, not always easy. Back to the SPY. This is tough. Man, this is tough. I don't know what to tell you. I personally believe if you can break out below the channel, you should break above it at some point. It's not going to be... Again, go to Twitter. Every Twitter chartist is going, just hit the top side. It's going to fail. And it's like, I doubt it. I doubt it. Remember, I put this box in at the highs. Who remembers us calling the top? You said it's going to be short of the 200-day, at the 200-day, or go slightly higher high. Well, here you are. We got over the 200-day. Not good for bears. Here's your upside target. All right, well, throw in some more. I mean, it seems likely 420s. Every time I've had some like issues with my internet recently where sometimes my computer has been blowing up. I don't know if somebody's trying to hack it. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I had a circle here drawn, a bunch of converging trend lines. It's also, here, check this out. Remember, we love the monthly chart. Love it, love it, love it, love it. 420. 420 for a Friday? No, not yet for me. I wouldn't be surprised. 420s. It's also the 618. It's also the 20-month. It's also the old upper trend channel bound. Don't be surprised. Now, remember, like you break that downtrend, everyone gets bullish. Then the market makers have unlimited liquidity to sell to because there's so many people chasing. Remember, we talked about the actual money on the sideline. At one point, it was like 6.5%, 7%. That's a lot of cash on the sidelines, y'all. There's a lot of cash on the sidelines. So, Qs, laggard. Look at this. Gaps down, said watch the 8-day. Put that in Twitter earlier. Look what closes the high day. This thing's a piece of crap. Tech is not the stuff to own for the long term. You can trade it. Don't own it for the long term. Once momentum is lost out of a sector, I'm telling you, it is dead money. If you don't remember Microsoft for years, they used to laugh at it every time someone would come on to like the Kramer and Kudlow and Kramer show, and someone would be like, "What do you think of Microsoft? Oh, it's trading out of 7 PE with cash flow," and they'd be like, "Haha, that thing has been stuck for 10 years. It didn't move until momentum. Once it's lost, it's lost. Tech is going to be in that purgatory. Well, is it possible you get up to 305? 300? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. It doesn't look bearish, though, in my opinion. Every time it pulls back, it's just making higher highs. Now, that doji can be slightly intimidating, but today's action confirms to me that new money came in, new month. Look at that. They bought it right up. We'll see. Next week's, we're getting close, but also you got to think about like everything going on around us. Like the Fed is in the ultimate sweet spot right now with commodity prices doing what they've done. Unemployment, where it's at. IWM, we talk about IWM always leads. Bottoms first, or it doesn't make a new low. Remember, it bottomed or topped first in November. Remember, the market peaked in December, January. Watch for lagging. This doesn't look like it's lagging to me. If anything, it was leading. It was up $1 today. Bounce back with a 100-day. Boom. That doesn't look terrible. So it's not lagging yet. I usually don't talk about the DIA, but I've been pulling it up lately because I'm like, look, y'all, broadening pattern. It's making new highs. It's over the August highs, yet everybody's screaming bearishness. Do y'all see why I'm trying to be evidence-based, like why we do this? It's not we sit here and we go, Dan's just making this shit up. No, we internalize it. We take notes. You take notes. You go, okay, well, things don't look that bearish. Now, today's gap down was met with buyers. We'll see. Would it be not surprising if you get someone in the 350s? Nope, not at all. GLD. Now, there is a seasonality to gold. Mid-December is usually the buy time. Usually around the Fed meetings that go on, tax loss selling, all that little stuff. Hit the 200-day. I about wanted to come through the Discord room and slap a few people today. Like, I didn't sell gold yesterday. I'm like, we literally hit Talk about 0.786s on gold. Love it. Talked about the 200-day. It's like, you have to take your money. Oh, and it gaps down today. What do I do? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Again, the seasonality, I mean, people were like amazed. Like, I was like, go watch the videos from like November 3rd. Literally, like, I had to buy gold here. I'm like, this is a bear trap. I hate it. I know the volume isn't huge, but look at this. Big down move, multiple retests. Then it professionally gapped. See you later. Traded around it. Sold all of it yesterday. Done. Oh, what if it goes higher? I don't care. Easy money's been made. People are like, oh, gold. I mean, I'm getting like text about gold. I'm getting like all sorts of things from like gold dealers. Like this stuff is usually when you get near-term tops. So that's what I think. Now high, how low? I mean, whatever. You just made almost 18 points in the gold market on a nice quick move with a higher low. We talked about holding here. Now you get up there, you're done. Move on. Short it if you want. Yeah, I mean, some people are shorting it. I don't blame them. Just be careful. Because again, if commodities go nuts, could gold and silver rip one last time? Could you pull like the February, March? Maybe. Silver on fire. Well, what now? I mean, you're hitting these next zones of resistance. I mean, personally, we talked about buying physical. I mean, if you're new to the channel, I'm like, man, please be stacking. Please be stacking this physical stuff. Long term, love it. Now, near term, silver's hard. Silver, I mean, that silver and nat gas, man, they are both the widowmakers. Near term, why didn't my fib save, man? I'm telling you, my chart's been driving me crazy lately. There, as figured, we're not too far from the 0.618. I mean, mid-21s. We said that. I mean, I think you said that first. Patience, 415. So yeah, potentially, definitely, my man, definitely, potentially higher. And again, but we need, like you said, we need the Dow is officially in a bull market, and the S&P may follow suit. Love to see that start popping up in the news. Yeah, we need to see people we need the news. Remember the noose, choking people, killing, murdering people. That's what the news does. I mean, how many times have you taken advice from somebody or some sort of news? Remember we talked about JP Morgan, real man of genius. At the bottom, they're literally telling everyone to sell their stock. And they bought it, and then their stock ran up 25, 30%. Sorry, I got distracted. Silver, I mean, I wouldn't short silver. I would probably short miners. GDX, down for the day. Still, came back. We talked about this 200. Could it get to 31? I don't know. GDXJ, same thing. Like, these miners have made pretty significant moves, y'all. Do the math. 25 to 37. 50%. On gold moving $150 an ounce. Probably priced in near term. Think about it. Yep. Short it at your own risk. Have stops. Be aware. It seems likely to me that is going to happen. So let's start looking at some of the miners. Like AG. I'm like, why isn't it making new highs? Is silver's making new highs? Red flag. Doji, hammer, and kind of this weird candle today where it opens at the 100 or 20-day, 200-day, and closes near the highs. Could this be distributive? Sneaky? Maybe. I mean, I don't think AG should be at 1050 plus, right? If silver's hawking, why is it not? Somebody has the ability to keep the pressure down. I mean, you're not even over the freaking November 15th highs. Something's wrong there. Can we put a red flag alert? AEM down 40 cents today. Gapped up. Is this the novice gap? You know, we talk about gaps at different positions mean different things. Like coming off the lows, professional gap. Gap at the high, potential novice gap. Here you go. Potential novice gap? Question mark. I understand why people want to short it. I don't blame them. Newmont, if you want to short something, this is the name. Newmont is crap. If you don't remember 2008, like I do, everybody thought Newmont was like hot schnitzel. And then the bear market took it down the next leg. Like it was like, oh yeah, we're holding this trend line. Look at this thing. It's all bam. Slam. Remember, miners aren't safe. Well, here you go. Here, like your look below the channel, little bounce on the monthly. That to me, again, Newmont is stuck. Like these big miners have to buy more gold miners to get higher PEs and leverage up, and they're going to probably have to use their cash and dilute their stock. It's simple. What did we say yesterday? Man, it didn't save. Darn it. Look where it hit. High volume highs, high volume lows. Love to retest. Hello. High volume highs. and lows with big volume candles become tractor beams. Doink! I mean, is it exact? Close enough for government work. Don't bring a ruler to trading. You're welcome. PAAS. Nice little pop. I don't like their deal they're doing with Yamana, silver, gold. Terrible deal. The market penalized them initially, and then gold rallied, and this thing's lagged. But, I mean, think about it percentage-wise. I mean, that's a decent move, I guess, for this stock. But when this thing's ready to go, like, it's going to be... I mean, let me go back to the monthly. It's like, it can move. I mean, we could see... Again, I think these names are going to be up hundreds of percent. Like, people are going to be trying to trade tech, and we're going to be laughing at the hundreds of percent potential moves over months in materials. Speaking of tech, AMD, AM Dizzle. 100-day, talked about this chop zone. I mean, if I was long it, I'm probably gone it. But could it pop a little higher? I don't know. NVIDIA. Thinking like Newmont. That thing is so juicy to short. Talked about like, hey, look, it doesn't look bearish. Made higher highs. Comes back now, a little left, right. Like topping, rounding pattern maybe. I don't know. Rubber Band Man, getting a little tired. I don't know why you wouldn't get up there. 0.786, 175. SMH, if you're shorting up here, I get it. I still think, we are over the channel now. Is the market ready to short? Now, again, should these lag? Potentially. Now, we've talked about the glut in chips. That always follows. Once a bull market in chips ends, if you don't know how a bull market in chips ends and you're new, good God. Get a parachute. Well, you have a glut now from all the digital currency printing, growing. Cat, you're distracting me. Yeah, I get it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't talk to my animals. I just do it for fun in the video. Yeah, I mean, you've got way too much supply of all these electronic, like servers, video cards, all this crap, whatever, SMH. I mean, semiconductors, whatever you want to call it, whatever specifics. Here you go. Like, this is the backside of Mount Everest. And people are just like, oh, I'm going to buy this for the long term. I'm like, good luck. Aribadochi. Adobe. Oh, let me go back to, like, SMH. Like, so if you're thinking about wearing a short, we talked about. Sorry. Somewhere in the upper 220s. That was spot on. You got the retest. Is it done? I don't know. I would rather the 0.618 and 243 level, but that's just, again, you can't put yourself between where the market is going to go and when it doesn't. Always put these targets out, and we have to change them because the market changes. You don't just say, well, I'm going to short it here and just blindly ignore what's going to go on everywhere else. No, that's tunnel vision. That's stupidity. Adobe, talked about, probably fills that gap up there. Held the 20-day area. Whoa, too much. 260s, or 360s, 350s. Apple. All these rioting in China, game over. China stuff, it's over. They're not going to be doing any more COVID lockdowns. Telling y'all that whole, it's all for control. We talked about how it was a total joke that when the peak COVID potential lockdowns, hospitality stocks in China, giving Rothakon, my man, credit for this because he posted, I'm like, yep, you're right. When that was peaking, whatever day that was, Monday, Tuesday, hospitality stocks in China started ripping. Why the hell would they be ripping higher if China was going into lockdown mode? It's because they're not. Somebody knows. Somebody always knows. The nose knows. Sniffing it out. Here we go. Apple. Crap. Tech. But could it plop back up into the 150s? Maybe. Amazon. Someone was asking why I was down today. I mean, the 20-day, it's like a tractor beam, right? I mean, these are stocks that I don't anticipate to go crazy. Could they chop and then maybe make a run? I don't know. Again, tech, the money just doesn't seem to be rotating into tech. If you miss and you don't understand how rotation, once the momentum is lost, people are buying dips in commodities constantly. Upper left, lower right stocks like tech, they're not buying. Now, could they pop? Yeah, but they're not leading. If you don't buy the leaders, then don't be surprised when they lag. Laggards lag, right? Give me 2 seconds. Let me sip some coffee. CRM. Here you go. Earnings. Pops down. 3-day rule may be in effect before it holds and turns around. Maybe. I don't know. Some people were talking about buying this. It's like, yeah, I guess. Good luck. I wouldn't. Goog. Guggenheim. This one's been acting better. We talked about getting over the 20-day basing higher. Is that a left-right combo? I don't know. You didn't really get below. You're above 100. Still didn't get up into the 105, 106. Does this make sense? I mean, it's been beaten. It's acting better. But the name that I like better are some of the other ones that have been beaten. Like we talked about Meta. We talk about liquidity-driven game. Remember when they came out with their earnings and they said they're going to they're going to cut their workforce. They're going to lay people off. I'm like, I bet the market makers are covering their shorts and they're going to rip this at some point. I thought just the 20-day. Well, guess what? The new target zone is clearly up in the 130s. Congratulations. But I mean, keep in mind where it's come from. Where'd you go? Cotton Eye Joe. No, I mean 385 down to 85. Market makers unwind their shorts, get idiots to sell at the lows to provide liquidity to cover the shorts, probably even go a little long, and guess what? They'll unload it as it rises. Not a bad trade if you're the market maker. From 100 down into the 87s playing this game, you were up 20%. Complain about that. Microsoft said probably the 270s if the dollar is weak 260s maybe. Again, all these stocks, and just you're playing. What's the upside here? Maybe 200-day. I don't know. Bah. NDAQ. Here's one of the reasons why I realized I am shorting early and I got stopped out. This is the Coinbase for the NASDAQ. Remember, once all these stocks lose momentum, their volumes are going to plummet. Nobody's going to trade this crap. If you do not remember the mid-2000s, 2003 to 2008, there literally was jokes about tech stocks, people buying them. People come on and go, I like Microsoft, or I like Apple, They didn't go anywhere. A few of them did, okay, but most of them don't nowhere, the mega cap ones. Well, guess what? What do you think is going to happen here, right? At some point. Today, tomorrow, I don't know. Y'all want to pretend that you know exactly? I don't. But I've said I like it as short, long term. And again, my initial puts I bought were March. And the stock stopped out. Said watch for the 70. I mean, this is the thing. Somebody argue, hey, is this a head and shoulders bottom? Well, clearly it's resolving higher. Things that aren't bearish. Do you see how the evidence just doesn't say hey, you need to be shorting. You should be shorting constantly. No, shorting constantly has led to losses constantly. So, yeah, you're heading to 42nd Street, Lee. Hey, man, I used to go there and just pound a peck of oysters at a time, man. Love it. Talk to you later, Lee. Man, I live in Colorado. Would die for the 42nd Street Oyster Bar in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. Man, drink a few pints of beer and eat 100 oysters. That's my kind of night. I used to crush oysters. MicroStrategy, we said what? If it holds this area, you probably could pop 20, 30, 40, 50 points. I mean, I don't know. Your math is good as mine. Fill the gap, maybe. Worse, more. It doesn't look like the market. I mean, even the trash is floating. We talked about that's the last stage of the bull market run. The trash floats, right? I always love the it meme where he's looking up through the sewer grate and he's like, it floats. Like dead bodies, they float. Yeah, the dead, they float. I don't know. Netflix, you're welcome. I mean, dude, we have murdered Netflix. But here's the thing, the difference. Big base. Everyone likes the base. That's what we talk about. The bigger the base, the bigger the shakeout, weaker hands. So here we talked about. Trend line here, bought it. Talked about buying the breakout because we knew it would break out because of earnings. Nice. Came back, added it, took profits. The more it's up, more your own. We talked about this area. Look, it hit it perfectly. Talked about earlier this week. Watch the 20-day. Even if you got 20-day back here, be patient. Say, what happens if it breaks the trend line? Well, it didn't break the trend line. It played like it did. Look at that. Boom, 280, 320. Fills the gap. Here's your upside target zone. When you get there, please don't ask me, what do I do now? Take the fucking profit. Excuse my language. Take the profit. Roblox, here again. Things that aren't bearish. Even the trash is floating. I still think this gets bought out at some point. Somebody's got a ton of shares down in the 20 run range. And it's 31, I don't care. I'll buy more. I'm telling you, I think Microsoft or somebody, kids are addicted to this, sadly. Probably going to go higher. Tesla, man, 42nd Street Oyster Bar. Lee, you can't be telling me that, man. Love that place. Tesla, what did we say? Anyone remember? Well, it's a crappy stock. Leave it alone. But then what happened? He said, go watch the video from November 23rd. It said, be careful. If this is a professional gap, it's going to resolve higher. Then people were like, oh, I got to buy it. And I'm like, please don't chase it, you stupid sons of biatches. Don't chase. He said, watch what happens when it pulls back in the 177 to 180 range. You know who I'm talking about. There's basically like two people who are like, oh, I'm buying it, chasing. I'm like, no, just wait. Of course, it came back. Here you go. How much higher could it go? I don't know. Somewhere in the twos would make sense, right? Pretty obvious. All right, let's move it on. Materials. Love these names. Oh, look at these stocks. Do they look like they're leading? I mean, look, turn Tesla upside down, right? People are like, oh, what are you trading? Materials. That's where the money's going. These names, people don't realize these sectors are so small compared to tech. All it takes is a few $1 billion just sloshing around in the freaking buckets coming into this stuff, and it moves big. X, here you go. Congratulations. Said what? Once it held the 200-day, you might be getting the 28s. Now, longer term, this is a monster consolidation pattern. Inflation, yeah, coming. If it gets into the 30s, it's probably not going to break out. Just being aware. Unless the bull market really is on. Nucor. Hey, friends who own this, congratulations. Again, all these stocks look way better than tech. Way better. Mucho. Muy. Better. Muy mejor, right? Muy mejor. Here you go. We're into the next VAP zone. Or the next, like, what I consider zone of importance. You can see why. Here you go. Now you're in it. If you want to take some profit, go ahead. I mean, these don't look terrible. Terrible. Not like Charles Barkley terrible, right? They look all right. VALE, somebody was talking about buying longer dated calls. I'm like, well, I mean, here's your consolidation zone. Leading. Looks all right. Yeah, it is. It does look good, Kat. I don't know if y'all can hear her. It's hilarious. She just screams at me for attention. Here you go. Doesn't look that bad. Now, personally, would I buy it? No. At this point, no. Absolutely not. But if you're in it and you traded it, congratulations. Hot diggity dog. Arrow. Here, I'll pet you, sweetheart. We talked about it. Holding the 50-day. I mean, somebody's like, oh, it looks like a bear flag. I'm like, again, I played this game. I hate when someone says a flag. I'm like, I don't know what a flag is. Define it. Because you could say this is a bear flag or bull flag. You call this a... I mean, I don't know. You can define this so many ways. I just say it's a channel. Until it resolves, it's channeling up. Simple as that. Here you go. Looks okay. Not blowing over. CCJ, again, I don't like their deal with Westinghouse near term. Remember, Westinghouse had a ton of corruption in it. They're probably going to find out when they open the books that they're not as much good stuff as they want. But we like this stuff long term, right? We like uranium. We like nuclear power plants. This could be one of those things where the deal could be stuck. CF, you're welcome. Put out an alert. It said 103, under 103 today. Gift. Well, you fill the gap, basically close enough. What was the exact low? Didn't get to fill the gap, but I mean it's on your red alert. Like looking for adding points on here because this is again stocks that are strong. The longer it bases here, the bigger the up move. I keep telling you guys, if it holds this zone, it's going to go. It's going to go. And if it goes, it's not going to be a small move. Keep that in mind. These are the stocks. Remember, look at this. A bear market started in December of 2021. Does this look bearish? You wouldn't even know it. Mosaic. Leaders lead. Holding up. Looks okay. I mean, this one's tight, a little tougher, a little tighter. We'll see what happens if you're, again, be patient. NTR. Talked about the gap down from earnings being the ultimate low. 20 days a key. Looks all right to me. Does it come back down here at some point? Ooh. Well, again, if the market pulls back, abso-freaking-lutely. But look what it did. It holds the volume at price zones. Retail selling, market makers accumulating. Now they need to distribute. Mark that sucker up. Hell yeah, they do. Aaron, another great trade. We talked about this. What is this, Dan? Well, this was earnings. We said somebody had the capacity to stop the drop, stop their whatever their numbers were, and buy the absolute dog crap out of it. They bought, what, 35 million shares traded that day? I don't know. We talked about every dip was a buy. Well, here you go. And it just keeps resolving. Look at today. Drops down, close at the high of the day. Somebody knows something about aluminum. That's all I can say on that. Let's get into it. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving along. What do we want to see next? XBI. Here we go. I mean, a lot of people are like, man, market's going to tank. Look at this thing. It's in a trap. It's like it's not even making new lows. Now it's back at the range highs. Things that aren't bearish. Again, people want to like just absolutely trash me for saying, oh, you're bullish. Like you're a perma bull. No, I'm perma evidence based. This stuff doesn't look bearish. Now again, take profits the more you're up, but don't sit here and say, oh, this looks all bearish. Wrong. You've been an idiot. I've been that in position before, an idiot, where I'm literally trying to short and it just goes higher and it goes higher and it goes higher every time. Well, guess what? Sometimes I said this today. When in doubt, and you're digging your own grave, all you have to do is put the shovel down. Stop trading. Stop doing what you've been doing. XLF, what we say? Again, another broadening pattern. Here's your upside. I mean, this target, I had this from the lows. You're welcome. We'll see what happens here. Now, if the market's going to roll over and the economy is going to hit the crapper, the banks are going to own it. Don't be surprised by that. But where's the short point? I mean, I've said I really want the FAS up in the 90s. And now, again, I don't get always what I want. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the XLF is technically there. And I said this yesterday's recap. If you want a short, the XLF, it makes sense. Just don't be surprised if it goes a little higher. I'm not seeing anything too crazy yet, but broadening pattern, top, 0.618. This seems like it is pulling bulls in. Today's action not as bullish as some of the other names. We not agree? It did not close anywhere like the IWM near the highs. Red alert. Remember, financials typically lead. Okay? Now, does this mean now that the whole market has to turn over and get gutted like a fish? No, it could be just a pullback. Just keep that in mind. Please, respect your surroundings. Stop projecting what you want and try to see let's see what happens. Trade around your positions. Like, don't be all or nothing traders where you feel like you have to like be correct. That pressure to be absolutely correct all the time, dangerous. Hey, Banff guy. Hey, dude, thank you for the super chat. You know I do this for free all the time. I don't care. I appreciate the donations because I know you guys who study stuff, you don't realize like your tuition bill will never be 7 figures like mine. I promise you that. Up and downs. You'll never have the emotional problems because you're literally getting the information that's going to hopefully keep you in a position. All right? Keep you in position. Here you go. Morgan Stanley, backside of the trend line. Old trend line. Old yeller. This is a very old one. You're in the upside target zone. I still don't know why you couldn't get to the mid-90s. JP Morgan, real man of genius. Remember I talked about at the lows, they literally were telling everyone to sell. Remember they were telling everyone to buy puts in front of the CPI. Remember they were telling everyone to buy puts in front of the feds. They sold puts left and right. They just fleeced all their clients. Great quarter. They're going to have an amazing quarter. Amazing. Now maybe that's what it's waiting for. Earnings. When is earnings? Probably going to be in January 13th. Mid-January. We'll see. Does it have to, again, January effect, typically bullish. Does it have to roll over? I don't know. Let's keep it going. Man, solar. I mean, a lot of people wanted to short solar, and it's like, man, you can't do it. It's not personal. It's just if oil and gas are about to take off, commodity issues, like these names aren't acting like the world, this stuff is about to implode. That's why it's hard sometimes, and that's why you can use solar as like the side thing. Like, wouldn't solar be crashing if oil and gas were really going to tank? Question mark. Holding up. Why is this thing right here? Novice gap. I guess you technically had them right there. But here's your professional gap. Keeps going. Holding up. Doesn't look like it's about to tank. Today's action, man, it looks like a hot dog, right? You got the hot dog in the middle and you got your 2 green buns. I don't know. Need more information. Sometimes the day just doesn't know. ENPH, warn people, please don't short this. Please don't short this. Like, what would be the best way to get people to absolutely chase this thing and get murdered? Break above the monthly channel. Break above the monthly channel. Break above it. Breakout. Oh, man, why is my fib extensions not on there? Sorry. Breakout. Yeah, here you go. Get up into these fibbies. Get people really locked in. Oh, I'm buying this for the long term. I'm buying this like Tesla. Yeah, right. Sedge, even this piece of junk. Said, put a text out this morning on Twitter like, watch the 308, 315, whatever this area is. I mean, it's a big range. Holy crap. Got into it, backed off again. Interesting. First solar. I don't know what to tell y'all. I mean, I thought it was an awesome short here. Was wrong. Thought it was an awesome short up here. Wrong. Thought the 164 is because it's a fib on the monthly. Wrong. This could be somewhat disconcerting, though, near term. Remember, like JP Morgan was downgrading it. Rip right back on them. Maybe they're not going to have an amazing quarter, but it's pretty solid. At this point, 2 times range, 175 plus. I don't know why we wouldn't get there. HYG, I don't know, it's just on my charts. I like thinking about, like, remember, this is corporate debt. Corporate debt typically, moves with the market. Does this look like it's dead? I don't know. It just seems to be chopping, making higher highs, higher lows. All right, let's end it as we always do on the fun stuff. Oil, gas. Tax credits, yeah, they're always helping solar. Remember, we were anticipating a red wave. It didn't happen. When the red wave didn't happen, shorting solar doesn't make as much sense at the moment. Right, at the moment. Oil. All right. Talked about big boy. Do you all see it? Do I have to, like, circle it? Like, zing, 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 zing. Big boy. Somebody. And this ain't me. This ain't Lupus. This ain't a few people in the Discord. No. This is somebody stopping it down. You get the retest? Holy crap. What a gift. Now you get up some, in the, like, mid, like 82, 83 range on oil. Pulls back, going to the OPEC meeting. The best trap? What's the best direction before a trap? What's the best direction? If you want to see a trap, the first direction is the side getting trapped. Right? I don't think the Georgia election really matters, man. They're gonna hit the Senate. They've got the vote. They got, what's her name? Kamala. Deciding vote. This doesn't look that bad to me. Near term. We'll see what happens. Now, if it drops on Monday, holy crap. Watch the 68 level. This looks good to me. This looks really interesting to me. Because, again, if OPEC does what I think they're going to do, and it probably doesn't even matter, this is a big base that's going to probably resolve higher. Now, again, now that volume looks small compared to Ukraine, naturally. Right? But now? Does it look that small? I don't think so. Nat gas talked about, man, this is just brutal sometimes. Buying it yesterday didn't add today. People are like, oh, you should add. I'm like, I'm in a loser. It just needs to hold this range. I'm not going to, like, dig it deeper. And now, after the fact, it's easy to say. Some people talked about selling puts today. I'm like, well, that's probably the play right there. Selling the 1918 puts. And then it'll come back. This is cotton to wheat. We'll see what happens here. I didn't see the close. I was Castle Rock doing a showing for this sweet, sweet, sweet lady who's buying a house with me. Love working with people that are cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything. Not seeing anything. We'll see. Let's talk about some of the oil names, though. Exxon Mobil. I mean, it's just high and tight, man. Like, this just doesn't look that bad. High and tight. I mean, don't you think if oil and gas were on a turnover, like, this stuff would just be like, blah, timber. No, it more looks like the choppiness before, like, the rip. Y'all see this? Like, the choppiness before the rip. What did Oxy do today? Yeah, this thing is just holding high and tight. Doesn't look that terrible. And did on PXD. Remember, I'm going to go into some live chat for a couple minutes after this. This is interesting because we talked about, like, I'm just, like, begging for it to close over the 100-day. It just keeps hitting the 200-day, backing off. Accumulating down here. This thing, people don't realize, like, I like it because you see the monthly, you go, why would you like it? You're like, oh, that's why you like it, Dan, because it's been a good stock. It's acting better than a lot of other oil stocks. And this thing freaking moves. That monthly doesn't look bad to me. Here you go. Now with the daily. It's a flag. No, it's just channeling down whenever it breaks out. We'll see. check this out. I've said this, I think, about a dozen times. Somebody stopped it. Somebody stopped it and ripped it. Somebody is stopping it from dropping. When does it go? I don't know. This is why it's so hard. People are like, I'm buying next week's options. And I'm like, may the force be with you. May you be lucky. We'll see. It looks fine to me. Hold the 230s. I think you're good. All right. Please do yourself a favor. When you are winning, take money out of the market. Pay yourself. Pay your taxes. Treat your family well. Promise. That is the goal of trading. It's not to grow this monster account and getting lucky. Because if you get lucky, great. But the goal is to treat this like a business. Once you start making money, please reach out to me. Let me help you find a property, investment property, anywhere. Again, I'll get a referral. You'll have 2 agents, not just one. That is the goal here, is to help folks realize that your goal is to turn paper gains into this stupid trading computer that you have, or mine, and buy houses with it. And then figure out a way, ultimately, to get cash flow, to pay yourself, to sit here and do nothing, like I do some days. Sometimes we don't trade. Sometimes there's nothing to do, and we still get paid because we have residual incomes. That is the goal here. Real wealth is built on real estate. I say this all the time. Again, Livermore would have never gone bankrupt if he had 1,000 houses or rentals or condos or whatever. No, he just kept growing his accounts and market and cash. Wrong. All right, I'm going to go and open this up. I appreciate everybody. Have a great weekend. Love you guys. All right, streaming still rolling. What y'all got? What do you need? Thanks, David. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. This isn't easy. I mean, I get attacked constantly for, because people are very emotional. And again, I love being attacked because it tells me where we're at in the market. Remember, at the highs, people are screaming, you're an idiot if you're a bear. And at the lows, when we're bullish, they're screaming, you're an idiot. We're not really there yet. I'm not seeing, people starting to high-five me like, hey, great job, you're bullish. No, I'm still seeing, immense amounts of people saying, the market's about to roll over. You're an idiot. You're going to get caught. You're going to... Okay. Okay. I'm not saying that we can't have some volatility here. The VIX is now in the 18s. I mean, the risk-reward at this point, 19, I guess. Risk-reward is too short, but it doesn't necessarily mean it can't go higher. If it's a 1-to-1 risk-reward, longing, be careful what you long, versus a 1-to-3 potential for short, I get it. The SPY doesn't look that bad. It's just big up, base, right? Do we need another pullback, or was this it today? I don't know. Do the math. 410, 400 pre-market, 403, 390. Again, this is how you wash out. You wash out. The biggest thing I'm concerned is the volume here potentially distributed at the highs. But it doesn't mean, just like here, you saw some selling here. See this big distributive node candle? Right? It still went lower. Look at this. Can we still go higher? You bet your sweet ass. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? I'm here for you. Trying to help. Now, again, if you get mad because somebody helps you, trying to give you advice, and they're wrong, then you shouldn't have listened to them in the first place if you're going to get mad at them. I always tell this to people, people post in Discord room, they're like, I'm sorry, I was wrong, or you did this. I'm like, no, I chose to take your advice. And if it's wrong, I know your intention wasn't to, destroy me or the room or advise wrong. No. SPY 417, again, I don't know the exact targets, SSF. I don't like putting exact targets. I like saying ranges. And if you look at the daily, let's always, when do we, we're trading. What's the first chart we look at? The monthly. It's always a monthly. Never have tunnel vision. You'll miss the bigger potentials. It's probably going to be the 20-month. It's probably going to be the upper trend bound. Yeah, maybe the CPI on the 13th. You got PPI on next Friday. You got factory orders Monday. You got some earnings on Thursday. I don't know. What if China's like, we're fully reopening. We're done. COVID stuff. We can't control it. We're going to try to vaccinate everybody. What do you think the market could do? What if Russia says, hey, good luck with your caps? We ain't doing it. You're getting no oil, and oil spikes, and the market pulls back. You see how like why I like oil gas stuff. Like I feel like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Downside's not huge, and the upside is large-ish. The SPY seems likely to me 420s, and the irony in 420s, I don't know. All the potheads out there getting excited about it. Ha, 420s. Yeah, beat us. Yeah, 420. Yeah, give me that. I don't know, man. Your guess is good as mine, but just look at the monthly wicks, right? Like wick 1, wick 2, wick 3, blow through it, wick back up into it. What's the key, right? Trapping the bulls. Now we're a bull, but we're aware that we're like playing with fire here. We're not really fire, but we're waiting for certain things. But does this make sense? Like the Feds are in the sweet spot, right? Like the CPI is coming down fast, comparatively. We all know it's bull crap. Inflation is anchored in. It ain't going away. But near term, I don't know. It's hard to know. Any thoughts, concerns, feedback? Again, if you're new in the Discord room, please get involved, because you're going to get booted within like a couple days if you don't post anything. How would China reopen impact gold and silver? You know, it's funny you say that, David, because I was thinking about that earlier, and the reason why I sold, and then I'm like, you know what? If China reopens, the risk off for this stuff, potentially. You know, again, think about it. Those folks, meaning the people who manipulate gold and silver, as someone who's traded this for 20 years and gotten beaten over the head 1,000 times by this stuff and seen how manipulated the market is, 0.786s are always very important with gold. I don't know why. 0.786. No. I can't talk to the computers and why. But here it is, 0.786. It's so easy to trap people, right? This gap up, in my opinion, is probably the novice gap. It's not the professional gap, right? We talk about 3 gap traps. 1 gap, 2 big gaps, 3 big gaps. So, near term, again, if the Feds are in the sweet spot, and gold typically has December weakness. I can show you guys this all the time. I mean, I think like 12 out of the last 14 Decembers have been weakness. November, December weakness. And now again, like, cause maybe it's just a pullback like this. Do this all the time for folks. Here you go. December, just chop bottom. Like the eventual bottom was in November, December. November into December, even just a little pullback. There's always a mid-December pullback. It just seems very likely. Here we go again. Here's a December pullback. Led to a high. December pullback bottom. Again, a lot of it has to do with tax law, selling, and manipulation in this market. Bottoms in December. Keep in mind, we will be getting bullish gold, David, going into at some point in December, probably. Unless the market just completely unwinds and they throw the baby out with the bathwater. How did you get your 20, 100, 50, 200-day, etc. on your E-signal chart? All right, Shannon. Insert study. Moving average. Apply. And then you can alter them. You see them on the top left here. I know they're not really easy to see, but this is how you alter moving averages. You can change it. Here are mine. Like, for example, what is this one? Width, line distance. What is this? Oh, that's actually, that one's, oh. Is this one delete? Like, I've got so many like moving averages and like things on my charts. I've opened and closed them. Here, let me give you one. Like the 200-day. 200-day SMA, that's the title of it. Auto. Simple moving average. Length, 200 period. How thick and wide you want it. Does that help, Shannon? Do you see that again? Insert steady. Moving average. Apply. Oh, crap. They're all popping up here. And then you have to like right-click them and edit them. And they default to 10 in simple. And a gray color. You can change the colors, all that stuff. Let me get these suckers out of there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Cool. China-made mRNA vaccine not approved for use in China yet, but it's being used in Indonesia. Yeah, I mean, we all live in a free society, well, for the most part. We realize COVID now is just the next flu, the next cold. You know, if you're overweight, unhealthy, you've got problems. Like, you can take the vaccine. I don't know if you really need it. I mean, I don't take the flu vaccine. I live with my own immune system. I eat healthy, take care of myself. But people take, my wife has to get it because she works at the hospital. Well, she used to. For flu. I mean, it's going to be around. Do you need to lock down a country to get, like, zero COVID policy real? No way. You can't get to zero. It's infinite in its probabilities. It's a stretch. Do you think tax loss selling is done for 2022? SSF, that's a great question because I personally think that's probably what's going to take the market down at some point. It's going to be the tax loss selling. Because you're going to have names like Apple, right? It ain't, think about where it was on December 30th. 180. That ain't going to be there. Someone's going to take a loss on that. Tesla. Whatever number. You're not, here's your loss. Take your loss, right? Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia, and Netflix. You know what I mean? Like tech. That's where I think the selling pressure in tech will affect the market, but will it catch up with commodities? Well, again, that depends. Like the VIX spikes, yeah. If the VIX holds in the 18 to 25 range, maybe not. I feel some stocks got marked up decently in the last few months. Yeah, technically it's been an up market, so they should go higher. Would you not agree? That seems logical. Let me sip. Man, I need to sip on more of this coffee. Again, you got my full attention. You got questions about anything. I literally just built a chart for my friend Shannon here. Yeah, even gold and silver got marked up. Hey, SSF, I don't know if everybody who's in the Discord room or not. Go watch the videos from like 11-2, 11-3 at the Fed meeting. Talked about buying gold, and I was like, this is just dumb now. That looked like a bull trap. And then what would we talk about? We're in this. It said like you're probably not going to go much. I really wanted 148 because it's a fib and it's like a range low. But 7 straight months. If you count this, like it was going to bounce. Well, now look where it's at, right? 20-month, the 200-day. Do you want to chase? Do you think it's going to go higher? I personally don't think so. Yeah, I don't think tax loss selling is done for 2020. I think it's going to be very dependent on names. It's like the next month is like the first of the month, end of the month mark down for the next 4 weeks, essentially. Losers should be lost to be sold. Winners will probably be held onto. Remember the wash rules, 30 days. So if they sold something, they're not buying it right back. But this is where this is where I don't know how much tax loss selling will get. Especially with tech stuff. Like, do you not think they were dumping tech in October, November? So now do you see what I mean? Like, do these same folks who took the tax loss, like, do they pile back in and push it one more time higher? Like, imagine all these folks, not necessarily folks, like institutions, mutual funds, like all these like big hedge funds. You're not sitting here then going, crap, we sold at the lows, and as soon as the 30 days passes, they might start buying some. That's where I feel like you could get this choppy action in the market. Oh, I'm not even on the freaking daily. My bad. Here, like all these folks who are dumping down here, like 30 days pass, right? No, but think about this Cardia. I think people dumped in October and November, my friend. Now there could be another wave of selling, but the heavy dumping, the biggest turds were probably in October and November. I did sold my gold miners last December in the last few days before I discovered. I don't know. Try to say that again. I'm confused. Maybe it's just me. I'm an idiot. Calcardia, again, I ain't tax loss selling. I'm telling you. Remember, fourth quarter. That's when it starts. Well, here's the fourth quarter. October, November. You don't think people are tax loss selling then? I think they were. Not saying it can't happen more, but a lot has been done. The tidal wave that everyone's anticipating, I don't think is coming. Until what? The feds do the increase in rates versus talk about slowing rates. You can buy alternative stock about, yeah, of course you can wait. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were talking about that. Definitely can. That's why I think people are buying the winners in tech. Right? Like, say, Netflix and even Meta lately. Like, some of the names that have just been really cooking versus, say, like Apple, which has been stuck. Amazon stuck. Shoot, even solar. Yeah, hope you bought the miners back on the mid-dip January last year. I remember that one, too. Remember, I think that was a rather confusing beginning of the year because we're like, you son of a biscuit, what are you doing? It pulled back early, and then it did it again. And the seasonal trade is like December to like March, winning. But that was pretty frustrating. I mean, this feels like natural gas. You just made me think of something, Eric, when you said that. I'm like, this feels like natural gas. It's exactly what it looks like. Draw this right here. Here you go. Here's natural gas. This is what I'm thinking. Here's natural gas. Right? Like this choppy, sloppy, crappy game. And then I guess I'll just pull up the UNG to be stupid. Choppy, sloppy, gonna go. Wasn't common, yeah. Now again, could this play out? And this is what I think sucks for oil and gas is, I mean, you're waiting for the tinderbox to light. I mean, when is enough is enough? Downside when you have supply issues and no solution. I mean, this is the thing. Eric, I'm glad you're here because you know this. The hardest things are typically the right things to do. The bigger the trap, the bigger the markup later. So look at gold. I mean, think of like gold. And this is awesome. I love when we start really talking about this. I mean, remember how we talked about I have to buy it here because this is a bull trap. Novice gap, open low, close higher. Novice gap, and I was like, God, I don't even want to do this trade. This is like freaking A. I hate gold. Zing, then it goes. That's how I feel about nat gas today. And I didn't even buy any today, and now I'm starting to regret it potentially. But we'll see. Maybe it gets down a little lower. But this feels like the hardest trade ever. But it's a big broadening pattern, right? Like natural gas supplies, it's going to get cold again. Europe is still screwed. They're trying to be greener by using natural gas. Which, again, I mean, they should use oil, coal, whatever. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Sold my gold miners for a tax loss last few days in December and bought back in January, then sold the time. I was screaming when GDX broke down. Yep. Miners were hard. That was hard trade this spring or whatever. Not this spring. It was this. I mean, I kept saying man, this is, here you go. I mean, the repeating patterns of these choppy, here's my aggressive buy zone. It's still there. I'm still laughing about it. Get that out of there. Got a frog in my throat. So annoying. And then it went zinc. Do you see what I'm saying? This aggressive, choppy action leads to straight line moves. That's why when people are oh, I'm picking the first bottom. As someone who loves to pick bottoms, the first bottom isn't usually the best bottom. It's just not. You get either higher or lower retest. This bottom. Oh, hey. right? Do y'all see, like, especially when you learn this stuff, like GDX, like it's just like crap, 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 crap. Everyone gives up, then it goes. I mean, 23 up to 30, 7 points on that. I mean, that's a 25% plus run after everyone gives up, right? Like, you know how I like, I love doing the real man of genius, Jamie Dimon. Like, look at JP Morgan. Like, look at the stock, same kind of thing. Everyone gives up, and then it rallies right back. But this, like, if you own this stock from June until then, you're just like, I freaking hate JP Morgan. That's how I felt today about gas. I hate it. I talked about my emotions again, because I get emotions. I'm not a freaking robot. I'm like, I hate natural gas. And then people said, I'm selling puts. And I'm like, that's probably the smart play. Yeah, that's probably the smart play. Again, I mean, we have all different opinions. I don't know. So should we expect a retest on gold before the major run into spring 2023? This is where it's going to be a little hard with gold. Because does the baby get thrown out with the bathwater in the VIX spike? Or does the gold bottom later? Like second quarter? But could it be one of these things where, let me try to find an example of gold. Here you go, where you didn't make a new low, right? And then you went on a run. Because this can happen sometimes in the December timeframe. You don't make a new low, but you still go on a little run. Right? Like that to me feels like, man, that really feels like what I would look for with gold. Like some sort of pullback and then a run up. And where would be the, like, again, we always like to project like where the major volume price analysis would lead to pullbacks. I would think you get somewhere probably in the 170s. That would be like the spring high. Because I think at some point we all agree, for the market to get beaten more, you're going to need to see the Feds like project strength of higher rates. Not this other peaking out at 5-4%, because keep in mind, historically that's not actually that aggressively tight. Now I know they have to unload QE, and again, that's why I think this is just going to be a choppy market for a while. Like you go up and then everyone hates it, and then it'll go up and then it goes down. That's where I personally think at this point, pull back. Maybe it's just the gap fill, 159. Because also keep in mind, look what is also 158, 159 here. It's the old fib, 0.382. Let me put that in my notes, actually. Oh, I still have 158 as ideal entry. Never mind. You guys got to see this. Here's my 158 area on the weekly, 0.786, 170. I mean, I don't update this all the time, but that's my notes on it. Yeah. And again, think about the market could rise higher and gold could get crushed, because that's what happens a lot, right? Like, that's what happens a lot. Like, gold doesn't get, people are like, gold is bearish, gold is bullish, when the market's going up. And it's like, no. Whoever is telling you that gold only goes up when the market goes down is an idiot. And whoever tells you that gold only goes down when the market's going up is an idiot. Did I say the same thing? Whatever. Gold only goes up when the market goes down, and gold only goes down when the market goes up. Wrong. It's still a supply-demand game. It's just one of the most manipulated games in the world, actually. It is. I would argue it is. Any thoughts on Credit Suisse? There's another really successful social media trader in Colorado who was talking about this one. His name is Jack. I like him. I don't really follow any of his stuff. I just saw he's like, oh, that's cool. Another Colorado guy. He likes to play breakouts, which is that's a niche. That doesn't look that bearish. Near term. I know they had to raise some debt. That doesn't look bearish, man. Man, woman, dinosaur, cat, whatever. That doesn't look like that. Credit Suisse, like the blow off gappy. Now again, we know it has a lot of gaps because it's based in Credit Suisse. Did the Swiss beat Serbia? How did they do? I'm sorry to get distracted. I was like, man, I'm pulling for the Swiss. How did the Swiss do? Did they beat Serbia? Yeah, 3-2. I still don't think they got forward. I think they needed a bigger goal differential. It doesn't look bad, man. Hey, good chatting. Any more questions, thoughts, concerns? I mean, I'll give you another couple minutes. I love this stuff. I mean, you got to get excited about this. I always tell people, I'm like, if you just want to get 30 minutes in a day, watch the recaps, and then get the hell out of here. Oh, they are in? Cool. And that's all you... I mean, I used to... Again, I grew up playing sports. I used to love practicing basketball. That's how I got so damn good at it. I used to love fishing, fly fishing. I still do. And I'm awesome at it because I love the process. If you don't love the process, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know what you're doing here. Like, if you don't love to try to figure out what the market makers are doing, trying to screw everyone over, and how to make money off of literally riding in their wakes, tailing them, then you're not in the right... This isn't for you. You got to love knowing that you can still lose, but you're trying to figure out what these people are trying to do. ZH, great video on December 27th. The goal of BIS settled up. There's 500 tons of Basel 3. Yep. Mm-hmm. You've helped me a lot on my e-signal. Thanks so much. Know the Apple spot now on volume and price. Yeah, if you got some e-signal stuff, let me know. Again, this platform is not cheap, but I love it. It works way better than any other brokerage, and I actually trust about as much as I can what the numbers they're giving. This is what's scary, is that the brokerages, I'm telling you, man, they don't project the correct numbers in option stuff like they used to. I mean, I've seen stuff change out of nowhere. I'm like, what? How did that happen? Oops, our computers are down. We had a glitch. How many times have you been in a trade and, like, all of a sudden, like, Schwab E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, all of a sudden it's like, oh, our platform's down. How convenient. Right at the open. Okay. How much is it? I'm paying like $3.49 a month. But there's different versions. Sometimes it's the way people are like, wow, didn't y'all have oil futures on here? Because I'm like, man, I can just keep piling on like more commodity futures and more packages. And when it's like, oh, I'll just use TradeView. Plus, I usually don't trade oil as much. You're like, why do you have gold futures? I'm like, again, you can pile on endless amounts. I'm pretty sure e-signal for the last 20 years, do the math. I mean, what's 20 times 12 times hundreds? Do the math. And then when I started trading, options used to be freaking expensive as shit. Yeah, hey, dude, yeah, thinking about the SPY trend line, everyone posts on Twitter, how often do we see a breakout on something like that? Well, hey, Prophetic, I know who you are. Remember what I talked about on the SPY? Remember how we talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then boom. That was the bottom there, right? Like, that was the breakdown. Remember how when we got bullish, like, I don't know, were you around heavy in June? I was like, man, I am so bullish. People were like, how? And I'm like, because we broke the channel and then professionally gapped back into it. That was the trap. Forward it to now. I mean, again, I'm giving away these secrets. Not even secrets. They're in the charts, but people just don't look at this shit. Yeah, that summer call was pretty amazing. Yeah, not too shabby. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Do we need a drop? Touch it again, break out, then fail? That to me is the easiest short with the lowest risk, highest reward. That is the easiest short. Remember, the best bottom was what? A breakdown. Is this helping y'all? I mean, again, the tendencies are meant to be broken. Once they seem obvious. Like, remember how, I'll end it with this. Remember how the CPI data in November, everyone was anticipating the market to absolutely get freaking destroyed because what? Most CPI data had been hurting. That tendency now was remembered by everybody. Everyone was short and everyone was selling. Look at it. They sold it into it. Kapow! All of y'all were wrong. One day knocked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days of accumulating shorts and people distributing. Wham! Gone. Do y'all see that? Like, that's what you have to understand about the market makers. Like, this is not something that Jim Cramer's ever going to talk about because he's the inside class. It's not going to be anything that anyone ever talks about because I don't know why they don't. Because everyone's trying to figure out the market from formations and MACD and RSI and charting. No, you have to get in the mindset of the casino here. We have to get in the mindset of the bookies, how they manipulate the lines. We got to get in the mindset of understand the market makers, how they manipulate the markets. Because again, the goal is to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. It's not to pay out. Well, what are the ways that they do this, right? Create tendencies to break them, right? Chop things out. V bottoms, no. Retest. All sorts of stuff. Does this make sense? This is why it can be so freaking hard. Because we don't know for sure how it's going to play out, but we know, like, we know sentiment. We know the market makers are really trying to screw everyone over. Like, when is it easy? That was crazy how easy that was at the 200-day. But we said it was the probabilities were what? I mean, I think also, too, was it, what is it, like 0.618 fib? Wasn't the 0.618 like the key here for every time? Give me 2 seconds. No, it went over the 0.618. That was what it was. Remember, getting over the 0.618 confirmed people like, oh, I guess it's bullish. Right? We are over the 0.618. We are absolutely over the 0.618. So that's how, like, you really draw in the bulls. Right? Getting over it. Making higher highs, higher lows. I mean, and again, 0.618 of this move starting here in August down. Does this make sense? You got to love it, man. You absolutely got to love that the market's going to blow everybody out in a zero-sum game. And it's like, man, if I can just try to figure out what these guys are doing, I want to do that. Keep in mind, I cut my teeth in gold, which is by far the hard. Man, it is so hard. Gold is hard. That's why I try not to, like, trade it that much, because I realize, like, most times than not, it's not a good time to trade it. Miners, hard. But here's the thing. People don't realize. Right? Let me show y'all real quick, and I'll end it. This is why I like gold long term. Do y'all know the story of gold? No, I'm just kidding. Do you understand what comes out of gold bear markets? When tech bull markets end. Gold 418 up to 1900. Is this not a huge cup and handle? Basing for years? You have to absolutely love the long-term potential setups in this stuff. Because inflation's not going anywhere. These guys screwed up. These guys meaning everybody. Here's some of the old gold charts in the monthly. But look at this stuff, man. Absolutely look at this. This is a thing of beauty. We are setting up for the big move. Do y'all see that? Do you guys see this? Like, this is great. The longer it chops out, pretend this is nat gas on a daily chart. This is gold on the monthly. Just breaking souls, killing people, destroying I mean, think about all the people you follow on social media. Like, today's the day gold goes. Today's the day. No, we need all of those guys to quit. Telling you, there is a big motherfucking move coming. Big up, chop out for years. Remember, it went from 92 up to 880. The big move, then the consolidation. The big move, the consolidation. Even better. Look at this, what happens. Remember previously, you retested the highs. Think of this as the same formation. Pulled back, then you went. All right, here you go. Retest the highs. Pull back, then you go. I got to end it on that. I love it. Freaking love it. If you don't own gold and silver physical for the next bull market run in this stuff, I don't know what to tell you. Again, when I say pay yourself, that's what you should be buying if you can't buy real estate. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace.